Welcome to Friday Morning Dharma on May 8th. Thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. As a model of stillness and silence, you may find it beneficial to bring to mind the image of a mountain, balanced, grounded, stable, silently observing with no judgment, no labeling, no comparing, no expectation. As we start to settle in for this morning's meditation, I would invite you to I would invite you to mount the following three-word mantra on your breath. As you inhale, silently recite the word rest. At the top of your inhalation, silently recite the word relax. And as you exhale, silently say the word allow. As in, allow the world and everything in it to be as it is. Rest, relax, allow. And we can now gently transition into meditation on the inner body. Please be the silent observer of sensations within your inner body. No analysis is necessary. There's nothing to figure out. Just be the silent observer and allow a more awakened state of awareness to emerge. This morning's Lam Rim meditation is on refuge practice. The nature, the fundamental nature of your mind, of your consciousness, is that of spacious clarity, quiet stillness, vastness, luminosity, and clear light. This consciousness, this luminous clarity, quiet stillness is in the nature of peace. And this peace is your birthright. However, there are obstacles to experiencing, for some of us, there are obstacles to experiencing this clear, unobstructed consciousness. And those obstructions are delusions, states of mind such as anger, desire, jealousy, resentment, anxiety, and so forth. Dharma, wisdom teachings, and wisdom practices. Dharma provides us the means to remove these obstacles, these delusions, such that we are able to rest and experience and enjoy our own consciousness, this unsurpassable peace and clarity. Contemplating in this way, we will arrive at the conclusion, I must take refuge in Dharma. I will take refuge in Dharma. Please rest with this determination while continuing to meditate on the inner body. I must practice Dharma. I will take refuge in Dharma. Now, please gently redirect your awareness. Become aware again of this collection of parts we've agreed to label physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your physical body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room that you're occupying. Deeper and deeper breaths, becoming aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of clouds, of blue sky beyond the clouds, of limitless space beyond the blue sky. Limitless space, which is in the same nature as your mind. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May all beings without exception soon come to enjoy a state of complete, perfect fearlessness. May all beings without exception soon come to enjoy inner and outer freedom. May we soon come to enjoy and experience continually inner and outer peace. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. So, we are going through the 21 Lam Rim meditations. We're in the process. And the term Lam Rim is a Tibetan word, which means stages of the path, as in stages of the path to awakening. And those of you who have been coming regularly to classes may be wondering, like, tell me again where we are in the Lam Rims, because we've sort of been navigating around different teachings and different practices. If you are like uncertain, it's okay because we've covered a lot of material. We're still in the initial scope practice, initial scope meditations and practices. And in particular, the one that we've been going through is refuge practice, kind of what we meditated on this morning. And thus far, we have talked about two of what are referred to as the three jewels. The three jewels are Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha within Buddhist doctrine. And I had originally planned on talking about Sangha this morning. Um, Sangha, translated loosely, means spiritual community or spiritual friends. Um, but there was an event that happened a week ago yesterday. Very noteworthy, very powerful event that I was discussing with a very close Sangha friend of mine. We were talking on the phone. He lives in a different country, and I was telling him about this thing that happened a week ago Thursday, and he said, you got to talk about this at at your Monday, Friday class. You got to share this with the folks. Um, and I thought about it and said, yeah, he's right. He's right, because it's a really, really powerful event that links up perfectly with what we've been talking about. Kind of these real life examples, very beneficial. Kind of the most beneficial and meaningful. So I have a friend who, a fellow Buddhist who lived here in Silver City. Um, we've been friends about, I don't know, 12 years, maybe 12 years or something. Really, really close friend, beautiful person, beautiful practitioner. He was, spoiler alert, he passed away on Thursday, this past Thursday, a week ago yesterday. He was a retired nuclear physicist. So super, super bright. Yeah. Nuclear physicist. And if for some of us might be best just skip the nuclear part and just think of him as being a physicist. If there's mental resistance to nuclear physicist who's a Buddhist, how does that happen? Just skip the nuclear part if you need to. Really, really bright guy and a really great guy. And a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, he was diagnosed with a form of dementia called Lewy body syndrome. I'm not sure if you all have heard of this. I hadn't. Um, Whereas most forms of dementia, of Alzheimer's, involve kind of memory loss, right? Short-term memory loss, and it worsens and worsens. And with Lewy body syndrome, the symptom is hallucinations. His hallucinations became more and more pronounced and advanced. And toward the end of his life, he was basically hallucinating all the time. Um, and so I was driving a week ago yesterday. I was driving a support vehicle for the Tour of the Gila, the bike race. And I was way outside of Glenwood, almost to Mogollon Ghost Town. And I get a call from my friend's wife, who I've also become close to over the years. I get a call on my cell phone out near Mogollon Ghost Town, like way out of town in what should be an area that doesn't have cell service. But somehow this call came through. And she says, Ed is actively dying. The hospice nurse is here. He's in the active death process. Can you get here as soon as you can? And they live in Silver. And I said, of course, of course. And so I kind of stopped what I was doing and beelined it for their house. And yeah, indeed, my friend was in actively dying. Yeah. So my friend's wife had told me a couple of weeks prior, said, listen, when Ed's time for when the final transition comes, she said, I would be grateful if you could be there and just recite whatever Buddhist prayers would be most appropriate for this, what would be most beneficial. I said, of course I'll do that. Do it for anybody, especially a beloved Sangha brother, right? And so walked into his bedroom. He's lying on his back. He's he's sleeping, but unconscious. He's still alive. And the hospice nurse is there, and Ed's wife is there, and she's sitting in the bed with him and holding him and telling him that how much she loves him and, what you might expect in a situation like this. And so I sat next to his bed and immediately started reciting the mantra of Green Tara, Om Tari Tutari Ture Soha. And there is a recording, a beautiful recording of the mantra of Green Tara that I actually played for my mother while she was passing, and just looped it over and over and over, just to have these mantras like permeating, kind of saturating his consciousness. So I found this, put it on my phone, put it next to Ed's ear, and started reciting the mantra along with the recording. Just beautiful, like angelic voice this woman has. unlike my voice, it's good. It was good to have that support, right? So I did that for, I don't know, the song was 10 minutes and I must have done it 4 or 5 times, just reciting and so, I was afraid the hospice nurse and my friend's wife might sort of tire of this mantra, so I switched to medicine Buddha mantra, equally as powerful, they're kind of all these mantras are all of the same nature. I could have stayed with the Green Tara mantra, but I decided to mix it up a little bit for the benefit of the people, other people who were in attendance. Did that for a while, switched over to the mantra that we've talked about, the mantra that's associated with the Heart Sutra, Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Did that for a little while. And then I recited the Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutra was one of my friend's favorite teachings, teachings slash readings. Recited the Heart Sutra, still alive, still breathing. And then I recited his favorite teaching, his favorite text, the Ganges Mahamudra. In the last few weeks of his life, we'd done this meditation together. He always wanted to do this. And so I put my hand on his shoulder and recited the Ganges Mahamudra, which is, when I recite it, maybe 20 minutes in length. And my eyes were closed and my hand was on his shoulder as I recited this beautiful text and went through and finished and opened my eyes, and he was gone. He was still breathing when I started the Ganges Mahamudra, but he had transitioned somewhere during the recitation of that text. The hospice nurse comes over and checks his heartbeat and checks his pulse, and indeed he had expired. To my way of thinking, there is no more auspicious way that one could transition than receiving these mantras and these blessings and these sacred sutras, you know. It was just, and of course, I take no credit for it. I just happened to be in the vicinity, and I didn't write the Ganges Mahamudra, right? I just recite it. So it's not about me. It's just about these extremely auspicious, meaningful circumstances regarding his transition. And so that begs the question, what do you want to have happen when your final transition comes? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about the scenario I want when I take my last breath is to be is for this situation? Have you thought about it? Like, really thought about it? If not, you should. We think about a lot of things like last will and testament or advanced directive. What about when you're taking your last handful of breaths? What do you want to have happening? And if you've thought about it, have you communicated it to someone that you think is going to survive you or who might be there to facilitate the arranging of this situation? The sutras say many times in different ways, the most important moment of our life is the moment of our death. Because the consciousness that is manifest at the moment of our death will determine the rebirth that we take. It will determine the state of consciousness with which we enter the intermediate state, also known as the bardo, And what happens in the bardo will determine the rebirth that we take. We haven't talked about this in this Monday, Friday class, but just trust me, that's what the sutras say. Probably a good idea for us to give some thought to what we want to have happen at the most important moment of our life, the moment of our transition. So this does definitely speak all to the Lamrim meditation that we addressed 2 or 3 Lamrims ago called Death and Impermanence. Death and impermanence. Impermanence, my friend, a brilliant physicist, lost his mind, or I guess we'd say lost his brain. He lost his brain. Intelligence, it's fleeting, right? Other forms of physical health, it's fleeting. Everything of this world is fleeting, right? The sutras explain this in the Lamrim meditation on death and impermanence. But the context in which we talked about death and impermanence in the Lamrim is our death is an absolute certainty. The timing of our death is an absolute uncertainty. My friend had, had the benefit, if you will, of knowing that the end was near. You know, he still had the wherewithal to recognize I'm losing my brain day by day. It's decomposing, deteriorating. And his wife also was aware of this. So they had the benefit of time to plan, right? We might not have that benefit. So please don't waste a single minute. Don't wait until the moment of our death to learn about the Ganges Mahamudra, to learn these various mantras I'm talking about, to learn about any and commit to memory, like really, really know whatever sutra teaching or any spiritual teaching of any kind that you find really, really important. My friend and his wife got lucky, like the luckiest one could even conceive of. We may or may not enjoy that sort of luck. So please don't waste a single moment in applying yourself to what really matters in preparing for the most important moment of your life. And to my way of thinking, spiritual practice, whatever that means, is the most meaningful application. So, yeah. Okay. 9 after 2. Thank you. Arash, have a good trip. Marty, have a good trip. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, you're so welcome, everybody. Nice to have you back, Martha.
Thanks, Jeff.
Bye-bye.